All right, good morning. So, where are we at? So, it's a little bit after 9. This is going to be another late load up. I had some audio issues. Simple settings that somehow got reset when my computer updated. So, going through a lot of tutorials to figure it out. Classic, but back in action. So, a little bit after 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today's the 18th. Looks like we're getting up towards the top here, testing the previous high here on the SPY. Outside the Keltner channel, we did break out of that downtrend ray. I don't see anything staring us in the face that tells us we're going to snap back. Bullish on the go, no go. So there is some momentum. There is reasons why this might actually continue higher. Obviously, we have this high here, which is going to be the next big challenge. And we still have plenty of reasons to basically reverse. You got 1, 2. You got this. Yeah, I mean, we got plenty of reasons why this might be just another top, but the reality is we are starting to get, these higher lows setting in. But at some point this week, we're probably gonna get an answer, I think. Even if we just start to fade and roll over, if it's not a hard rejection and we don't see any one of these long wicks that we see where we lose steam and things just really want to reverse, if you kind of just see a few days of just consolidation, that's what we might need to really blast up higher. But we're looking at the SPY here, up a little bit this pre-market. Qs are doing all right. XBI looks strong. Actually, let's take a look at those guys again. Yeah, she's really jamming up here above this anchored VWAP. Good day yesterday. We got amber candles, so there's a good transition going on here. Did not buy CVS or J&J yesterday, and they were really on my list. J&J had a really good day this morning. What's happening here? Oh. They had earnings today. Holy cow. Wow, we are blasting through this. We're in April. It's going to be Christmas before we know it. Johnson C's revenues. Yeah, near a whole billion above. So these guys are. Gotta love J&J. If you want to fade this and allow me to get more, please. MDT, how we looking here? We're getting a little bit of blue here, so MDT might be on the list today. CVS, is she on green yet? Nope, still kind of bearish. Not that I listen to that as the ultimate, but we are seeing a setup here. Double bottom RSI, a little bit of a divergence, higher lows setting in. It's a setup. Sneaking out here. She probably really have to wait until we get above this, and then we'd have that anchored VWAP. So I'm not in a rush, but the valuation allows me, if I feel some sort of gut move there, I have no problem buying that and knowing that. Ooh, hello, GSK. That I'm willing to buy some CVS. But let's see, GSK might be worth it too. Pfizer. These are all the ones I'm keeping an eye on because, again, I was talking about this yesterday, and it's my view on almost all these healthy dividend stocks. Almost all of them. It's my top guys. It's always what happens when what does the world look like if there's no Johnson & Johnson or CVS or Pfizer? I mean, these guys. I mean, it might not be the best buy right now, especially technically, but they're pumping out a dividend, and I don't want to be forced to make a huge buy when all of a sudden it is a good technical setup. Um, accumulation on low volume days over months and months, and might be early in a way, but again, there's dividend. It's taking some of the edge off. Mentally, like psychologically, it's easy just to add slowly to these juggernaut tickers, because if I'm not gonna worry about being early on Visor, even while it's fading, because they're gonna go through a trough, right? They're not gonna have really good, probably blowout earnings, even if they make some really quick acquisitions here that can bolster their earnings. Say back half of this year, early part of next year. They're still coming off COVID, and now unless the commercial sales of the vaccine and their pricing is still super strong, and in that case they prove everybody wrong, which is that's kind of thrown into my thesis to a certain extent. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Because we're going to probably see that fade anyway, and it's okay just to throw some money at it here and there, in my humble opinion. Anyway, where are we at now? Bioreactor. I'm sorry I'm not doing too much technical analysis here, but man, she's been on a rip, huh? Remember when this was just dragging bottom and they're like, oh, Align's got too much competition. And Align, it's like they've used up all their customers. Give me a break. We're chunking along here. Look at this. We're almost up. Jeez. We're going to double this stuff by the end of the year. Look at this. This setup is looking great. Now, of course, we have these downtrend rays. But if they breaks through that downtrend ray, you're going to get some FOMO. This is starting to get... This setup is... I shouldn't say beautiful because it's coming off a high. But this is how you really... nicely bottom out. Come down, still get up there. You get some guys... Bid it up a little bit. Starts to slowly roll over. And then once it hits a certain area, you could just start seeing the volume just starting to... And then just brings it up. And then... You kind of get some, I think this was earnings. You get some nice solid pop on earnings. Get a fade because you got some people probably cashing out a little bit. But it just, every time it comes down to this buy level, look at that buy threshold over 300, psychological level, good level, fundamentally. She gets bid up. Love it. LNTH back on top. Tell me this is not, look at this. That was a good buy. I was patient. So this is this sucker popped, right? Remember, if you guys can remember, those started off with the at launch of the marketplace service here, or now investors group. When that, we were day 2 or 3, and I was like, watch out for LNTH. They should be reporting earnings. It was first idea really I talked about, and it popped, and I was like, oh man, it not only popped because just because it was a little bit hey, it's a little beat on expectations here. They crushed it, and their guidance was jaw dropping, right? And so this whole time I'm waiting, trying to get a time to add to this position, because I sold a good chunk of it, considering I loaded up in the low 20s, I think. Went all the way up, and now if I was man, I might have missed this. This might, the street might believe these guys are just going to be crushing it for the next several years without a breath, and that might be true, but we got a technical fade and we got a breakout. This is what I saw, and I pulled the trigger on it right around 50. I saw this line come in, and I bought it up, and you just got to look out for those things, because that's where you got to look for where the algo is going to step in and defend, right? Because she faded. There's some days where there's some spikes here, but it's mostly just slowly people. There's some days where people, again, are just taking some profits on the down days, but mean, it's not like she was just falling apart. Oh, Moderna. We might have to pull the trigger on Moderna here. All right, so I'm putting Moderna on the list. Vertex, unstoppable. You know what I realize is I don't think Vertex is a top idea. I don't think I have Vertex. No, it's not. Yeah, because I have like Regeneron. We'll see. We'll see. All over the place today, guys. I'm sorry. Too much coffee. I'm behind schedule too, so like I really haven't. When I woke up this morning and took a look around, I mean, a lot of things has changed since then. So it's like I haven't really taken a look at the dailies either. Algo. Right? There's that. So we'll wait for this to break and see if we can get down to this one. I've got to adjust my levels for ISRG. Like, it's sitting at sell 1, and I have yet to pull like the trigger on ISRG. I'm like completely sold on 300, but maybe I should be considering for the technicals, probably getting something at 289. And then moving up to like 320 for... Yeah, so basically moving sell 1 up to 289-ish area. Removing 302, moving sell 2 up to 320, and then figuring out what sell 3 is going to be. Because fundamentally, ISRG is overvalued in many ways. So it's not egregiously overvalued, but right now, I mean, it doesn't take much for her to go from being overvalued to undervalued. I mean, she's a pretty volatile ticker for being in the, a 300 to anywhere from 180 to $400 a share. I mean, and she could do it in, matter of months. I've been looking to trade ISRG more than I just wanted to invest. I just wanted to be like, this thing's going to be the best thing ever. But I've realized that she is so volatile that all these days where you can see these big movements, they're on earnings. So if you want to get in, there's going to be like some sort of number that people are going to freak out about because the growth isn't like amazing for some particular quarter. And it's equipment sales. I mean, equipment sales for... I don't even know how much a Da Vinci device costs anymore, but, if you sell 1 or 2 more or 1 or 2 less than what you were projecting, it will show up in an earnings report. So you have blowout earnings because you sell a handful more, or someone stockpiles a few replacement parts or kits or whatever they need, and it's like, oh man, these big earnings, and then next quarter might not be as good, and there's all of a sudden just a reactionary, like they miss a $500,000 on earnings and it drops like a hat real quick. You gotta be ready for that, and I've learned it. There's some tickers I am totally prepared for that, but ISRG I never thought about it, and it makes sense. It just it's a volatile ticker in a sector where earnings can be great one quarter, terrible the next. And I shouldn't say terrible, but a disappointment that it's the company's gonna be there's competition. There is like basically no competition for ISRG. There's kind of I'm gonna use this word. There's a few wannabes in there, but people that are trying to like be relevant on that stage, but they're still not ISRG. I don't think I've ever seen anything but a Da Vinci device in terms of those surgery machines. So what are we doing today, guys? What is BLCM even doing? What happened yesterday? What did I miss? I gotta look that up. Whatever. I'll have to keep an eye on it, see what's going on. I have no idea what happened yesterday. It might just be because I know they were basically saying like we're up for sale. So I'll take a look at what BLCM had yesterday. I apologize for missing that. Yesterday I was like, it's kind of like leftover for little remnants of today. Yesterday I was having a lot of technical issues with my computer. It's not recognizing my installed memory. So I don't know if both of my 16 gigabyte memory cards, chips, sticks, whatever. I don't know if it's them or they're both hot. So I think that it's being used. If I take them out while the computer's on, the computer kind of just stops moving. So I think it recognizes them. I'm just wondering why it doesn't recognize all the gigs that's in it. I don't know if there's something I have to, like a driver I have to download. Because it's not the motherboard. It does recognize if they're in or out. It's just telling me that I have like half of the amount of gigs I have for it. So if anybody knows anything, please reach out. That'd be great. The computer seems to be running fine today. It was really wonky yesterday. I got nothing here. I guess maybe IBRX if you're Schrodinger. Ooh, Verisite. What have you been doing? I have been terrible with you, and I apologize. Xeris, I know they had... Ooh, wow, she is cooking here. Yep. So if you've missed Xeris, IBRX, Equestive, they're all starting to move here. Very similarly. End of, yeah. So about a couple weeks now they've been... Blue starting to rip up again off the bottom. She was down at what, like $1? Oh, $3. So she hasn't moved that much. I gotta do an update on this. Dynavax, man, all these tickers I loved so much. I think we gotta start thinking about this again. VKTX. Wow, this one I'll say totally wrong. Totally wrong. But you know what's interesting is now it makes sense why it keeps going, because we've had several companies update their Nash data, and VKTX is kind of like going to be the last one standing, I think. And NVO with Wegovy, their weight loss, which is kind of works very similarly to some of these other Nash candidates, their sales are booming. So VKTX, ICPT, I forget what they didn't have really great numbers, but then again they didn't have terrible. So I have to keep an eye on them. VKTX, Galt is another one that we should probably take a look at. Alt actually has decent data. It's just it was a little disappointing, but I think it's because it was disappointing because people for some reason was thinking it was going to be dramatically different compared to other weight loss. Oh man, yeah. See, she's bouncing back, so close to that buy threshold. I'm gonna be patient here. Still too far from my sell target. I'm pretty heavy with Pac Bio for Bio Boom ticker. Again, I'm sorry for being all over the place. Oh, what are you doing, sirs? What you got? Ooh, yeah. Thank you. I'll take that. Sirs today. But what was the other company? I completely forget what it is now. Shoot. Guardian, yeah. But Guardian has another thing that they're going to do. Yeah, they're not. But you know what? It's not Cologuard. It's like Kleenex. It's a tissue. Cologuard is like the brand. And they have a better blood test anyways. So. How's she looking after the... Keep an eye on this one. They bring in revenue. It's not great. They're going to be like... It's the same idea with like Blue. Like they're just getting started. You can't expect... When you have to set things up at centers, like you're not selling pills, you're selling a whole entire process. It's not even like just a therapy. It is a whole procedure ordeal for these gene therapies. You have to get the hospitals, everything. You have to get the payers, obviously insurance companies. You got to get all these things lined up. Patient advocacy groups, etc. Everybody's got to be on the same page and ready to move forward with this. And that's not exactly just like everybody who's eligible who wants to come and do this. Let's just, it's not like a vaccine day at a flu vaccine day at a doctor's office where it's like, sign up and come on in. We'll just bang them out. It's like, no, you got to monitor the patient. You got to make sure the patient's right before and after, all that stuff. So when you're first getting started, you gotta give some of these gene guys a break. Now, I don't mind when the market wants to short it and think that it's going to zero because they had only like 3 procedures in the quarter, their first thing to launch, and all of a sudden it's like a failure. It's like that's all they could like get going. It's not that there's no demand. It's the bottle that they can handle. It's what they're allowed to do. Demand, it's not like it's not on the shelf. It's like Blue, Orchard. Anybody else anybody can think of that's a gene therapy that, well, there's some of them that have been pulled, but like like CRISPR, like I am being so patient with CRISPR because even if that looks great, they're gonna get a good little bump from Vertex if that gene therapy works out. Well, it's almost 9:30. I gotta get some tickers into the chat. Sorry for the really just all over the place today. I had a lot of cups of coffee. I was up late working on the computer. Just a disaster. But who do we got going today? Brutal. Oh, some of the classics we've been working on, right? So all the guys in Bioreactor and Healthy Dividends, and we're going to keep a look. IBRX, Schrodinger, Xeris, if you're not in it, KPTI, Agen from yesterday. Yeah, some of these guys are starting to move, so if you're got a little FOMO, you haven't got in, we're starting to look like, you can tell, like, basically everybody from, like, end of March until now. Now, that doesn't mean, look, we have this situation, right? Just grinds up, it comes to a level, chops around, and then fades. That could be happening again. Now, the setup is a little different, right? But RSI is looking good. I mean, at some point she's gonna have to do a little bit of a pullback. Question is, are any of the earnings like KPTI could have good earnings that could really justify a higher higher share price in conjunction with just the sector getting a bid. Schrodinger's another one that could do the same exact thing. Yeah, so we're getting our buy threshold here, right? I mean, there's 30. We're literally right on it. So if you're looking to get a piece of that, I would do it sometime today or tomorrow or something, and maybe wait for a pullback. But the way some of these, like, we're getting to levels where if they get like an extra, if the rest of some of these tickers, if they have another week of green, like, they're going to be above a lot of key resistance levels, and they're going to probably move. And they're going to probably gap quick. So you got to keep an eye. Ooh, HRTX. Yeah, keep an eye. Keep an eye on this one. Jeez. SIRS, ACAD, she's back up again, huh? That was a strong day yesterday. That's why. Okay. That was a good sell. I liked it. I don't mind it. Didn't get anything in the buy target though. Should have done that. All right, I'm going to end it there. I'm all over the place. I apologize. If there's anything to get out of this is if there's anything in your bio booms that you've been looking at. There's a lot of them that are coming off those buy ones, buy two targets, and soon we'll be getting out of buying thresholds, it looks like. So I hate to say like there's some FOMO there, but if there really is anything that you even just want to put into the portfolio and just get a starter position, you're probably looking at last minute to do that, and then you could be patient and wait for a pullback to maybe get a larger position on confirmation move. But if the sector really is getting that big of a bid, and any of these guys that have positive catalysts, you might see a very large move, and it might not fade as quickly or at all. So keep that in mind. All right, market's opening. I gotta get going here, get some day trades going. I'm gonna quickly throw some tickers in the chat. I apologize. Thanks for watching. Stay patient, stay healthy.